Okay, everybody, welcome. Welcome to the webinar. Thank you so much for coming. As soon as my co-hosts and panelists get on here, we'll get going there. Awesome. All right, everybody's on here. Can everybody hear me good? Yeah, awesome. Perfect. Ooh, echo. Okay, echo. You guys hearing an echo? Okay. Carrie, Kari, could be you guys, but we'll see if anybody else notices an echo. And if you do hear an echo, throw that in chats. We'll make sure that everybody can hear just fine. Again, really glad to be here. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back for those of you that have been with us before, maybe have been on one of these webinars with us, know about this, or if you're here for the first time, welcome here. Not necessarily welcome back, but it is almost time for school. So first here, um, first question to get everybody going. Who is going back to school this week? Who's going back to school this week? Anybody? This week, next week? Counting down the days. Okay. I know school here in Kansas City starts tomorrow. So my kids are ready to go. We are ready for them to go. So excited about school to start for sure. Last week, oh, Carson, I'm sorry. Yes, tomorrow. Savor these last moments of summer break for sure. Yeah, I appreciate you guys all putting that in there. Awesome. Okay, good. All right, so we know where everybody's at. Everybody's looks like most people are they're still on summer. They're still on summer. So we'll go with that. Except for the unfortunate few that are not. So, but our spirits are with you. I'm just kidding. So welcome back. Play versus and gaming concepts are super excited to announce and have you here for this webinar that we are going to go through today. Hopefully, this is maybe your first time here. We're really excited. I saw a lot of people on the list as your registrations came through. I have not seen your school before, me personally, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not with us, but I just haven't seen you here before. So there's a lot of new people here, and I love that. So who are we? Who are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about today? So join me, flanked by me on top and bottom, at least on my screen, is the wonderful Dr. Christy Custer, Dr. Michael Russell, part of our gaming concepts education team, the gurus on scholastic gaming and gaming concepts. And so they are going to help me out. I'm going to kind of MC the whole thing and go through all of the slides. My name is Alex Herbie. And I am the education manager here at Play Versus. And we're going to kind of tag team this all together. Mike and Christy are going to handle some links and some chat. So please, they are a wealth of knowledge on everything that we're going to talk about today. So please, if you have a question, throw that into chat and they will get to you. I will get to you. Whoever's not talking will definitely answer your question for today. So here we go. Dive right in. What are we going to talk about today? So hopefully those of you that are here don't know anything about gaming concepts. I'm going to assume that you don't, but we're going to talk about gaming concepts and what that is, which is brand new to Play Versus, is the gaming concepts curriculum. We're going to talk about Blueprint, again, also brand new to Play Versus. Actually, everything on this list is brand new to Play Versus. So this is this is everything that's brand new, but we're going to get you up to speed on what everything's what's going on with Play Versus and everything that we have to offer and everything that is going to help you out in the classroom. Because that is our why, is how we can help you out in the classroom, right? We are all former teachers on this call. Christy, how many years again?
24 years, 12 as a
24.
English and journalism teacher and 12 as a high school principal.
Perfect. Mike, how many you got under your belt?
Six, but my
Okay,
wife's taught for 25, so we'll roll some of hers into mine. So
there you go. It all bleeds in at home. It all bleeds together. And I spent 10 years as a teacher as well. And so, our why for working with gaming concepts and what gaming concepts is a really, it is a passion project of, I'm going to say Mike's for sure, but now that it's been around for a while, it's been a passion project of all of us to get students back to school and get them to care about school more, right? So our why is to give kids a why, right? They need a reason to come to school. And so one of the biggest reasons and the biggest ways for students to come to school is to make sure that they feel purpose and they have that purpose in school. And that's what we try and provide. So the gaming concepts curriculum in its entirety is all six of these courses that we have written over the past 4 years, right? And have been utilized in schools across the country, and in certain cases across the world. What we focus on as teachers is we want to remove the barriers to putting in new things to your classroom. So oftentimes as teachers, we understand that, bringing in a new resource and bringing in a new curriculum, it's a new textbook adoption. Those are rough things to go through. There's committees, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of alignments, there's a ton of stuff, which really kind of detracts from what the goal is, and that's to get something new and exciting into the hands of your kids. And so what we try and do is take all of that out of your hands because you have better things to do, like teach, right? And enjoy your job as much as you can. So what we do is we work on gaming concepts to fulfill every need that you would need at the district from any type of level. So whether you need data, whether you need research, whether you need alignments, whether you need, year at a glance, we have those and we provide those for you within the curriculum. So our curriculum, well liked. Again, all across the country, we have schools all across the country using it. We have an evidence-based approach along with our standards alignment. And with evidence-based, that is coming from the pedagogy of teaching. It's coming from the rigor, the relevance, and what your administrators and what administrators are looking for in a proper curriculum or a proper course if you're going to add this to your school. So we do all the hard work, we do all the legwork for you to make sure that this is something that can be easily approved and also easily adopted. It's not just some giant theoretical framework for what lessons could be. These are real world lessons. Mike and I both taught these lessons in school. Mike as he was developing them, and me as they were developed, I taught them. So it's kind of an interesting, connection there. But we've won a lot of awards, and we have a lot of different courses to cover a lot of different needs because a lot of schools might want this, they might want that, and we're going to talk about what each one is and how exciting this is that you guys, being with Play Versus, have access to some of these things.
Alex, I just want to add, just
Sure,
add to that I'm putting some links in the chat. And so I don't want those to surprise anybody as they jump up there.
perfect.
And the other
Yes.
thing I just wanted to add on your last slide too is that a lot of your classes that we have developed are already being taught in your schools. And so streaming is a big one that a lot of students love and teachers love because it's an example of aligned to speaking and listening standards.
Mhm.
And so I know you're going to talk about this a little bit later, but I just wanted to give a preview for those that have never touched us before. And so the speaking and listening standards, a lot of times that's a speech class, and most kids hate speech. But when you put a
Mhm.
microphone and a camera in front of them and call it streaming, all of a sudden you don't have enough chairs in your class. And so I just wanted to give, the our audience, our listeners, a little look, a little taste of what they're looking at here when we talk about esports curriculum or gaming curriculum. It's not that far away from
Mhm.
what they're already teaching. It's just palated much better. Mike likes to
Yeah.
call it chocolate covered broccoli because we shade it a little bit so that the students don't know that they're actually giving a speech.
Yeah, excellent point. Thank you, Christy, for that clarification, and what we're doing because um, that is the goal is that you already have some of these already on your books, whether they're the course codes that we have that we've written these courses to match, or a very very close adjacent course that can be put in. Something I want to talk about, Christy's going to put in the study that's being referenced here on the video, but we all know as teachers, we all know that mental health is a huge issue right now in schools, right? The Surgeon General's come out and said, that this is a problem. We have thrown millions and maybe billions of dollars at it to help combat the mental health crisis that's going on in schools, doing all kinds of different things. I remember doing we would be doing, wellness checks, not necessarily wellness, but like surveys in school. We would be doing all of those like lessons where you'd have to stop class and you'd have to talk about Tina and her friends, bullying each other, and nobody cared. And we've thrown all of this stuff. We've purchased all these things, all these equipment, and all this technology, and it's not necessarily working. And that's because the kids aren't interested. So what we try and do is with our mental health moments, which are baked into the curriculum, they're integrated into each lesson. that what we do is working off of the PERMA framework, we build in where students are experiencing and interacting with mental health situations that are gaming adjacent or right within the curriculum or right within the lesson you're talking about. So with gaming, it's very easy to talk about mental health because you can talk about so many things like toxicity. You can talk about being respectful. You can talk about self-esteem. You can talk about, character development. All these things that kind of build and work off of mental health can be done with an esports lens, and that's the way we've been able to kind of fit them in without the kids knowing. And we're able to fit them in so well that we decided to try and do a study off of it, which is what this slide is referencing. And the study found that 8.3% of our study participants were able to have a self-esteem increase in their mental health capacities and in their evaluations. So we know that it works, even based off of what we've done with our study. And so getting students to feel that success in school is going right back to our why of students to feel purposeful and feel, like they want to be at school. And Christy and Mike say this all the time, but it's like, if you provide students with a little bit of success at school, they feel that they are successful at school. So the analogy goes, well, Mike, say it. I always mess it up.
What analogy are you talking about?
The video games in school, and or maybe it's Christy that says it.
Christy,
The
this is
I
Christy's
am
analogy.
I love video games.
Mhm.
Video games are I'm good at video games. Video
Yeah,
games are in school. I am good at school.
yeah,
It is totally linear that they make those connections. And for a lot of kids, this is the first time they've found any success in schools.
Mhm.
And what's really exciting, when we talk about this self-esteem thing, what's really exciting is it's not just the students, but it's also the parents that for a long time they have not had a positive connection to the school because ever since elementary, when we all held hands and stuck together, and we had that one teacher that watched out for her ducks and made sure that everybody had a friend and everyone had someone at recess and everyone had a partner, you know, they get into middle school and we say that's where things fall apart. One thing that Alex didn't mention is this curriculum was actually built at a alternative school for at-risk students. Mike and I both were at the alternative school, and all I cared about was attendance. As the building principal, that was my number one concern was we have got to find a way to get these students to school because I had rock star teachers, and once I got them to school, then those rock star teachers hold hands, stick together, made sure those ducks, were in a row. And it was, I say, even before I know that I'm attached to this very heavily, but it was a silver bullet that I had not seen before because students wanted to be at the school because that's where their friends were at. They could play video games. The school typically had really powerful computers. They had great computers. And guess what? They also had a mentor there. That was the puppet master. And that in our school was Mike. He was our esports coach and he was our gaming concepts curriculum teacher. And he was the puppet master that, you know, got with the uh, got the computers, got the games installed. I mean, he was really the person that brought it all together. And so I always tell people, put this class first at the beginning of the day, because once you get those kids there, they're likely to not leave.
Yeah.
So I just love that the parents could see their kids being successful and the kids were successful in this class.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Christy, for sure. So, mental health as being a component and also kind of maybe a little bit of the backbone, whether they realize it or not. But when Mike and Christy wrote this course, helping those alternative school kids, it was definitely on the heels of that for sure. So along with having a mental health component, we do have a standards alignment. We are aligned across all 50 states and several other countries. So if you're concerned about that isn't going to fit with what we have aligned it to your state's specific course standards. And those are available if you want to chat with us afterwards or you want to drop us a line. All that contact information will be at the back. But this is just another thing where we have provided this for you because it's like you're going to be asked to do it anyways, and you have too many other things that you need to do. And so we want to do that for you. So yes, standard alignment across all 50 states. Now, what's interesting about gaming concepts, and while this plays, I'm just going to kind of chat with Mike and Christy about these things. But, you know, building this in the alternative school framework, right, I think was the best way that this kind of facilitated its success because you built it to a population of students that definitely did not want to be there. Where
Mhm.
now we're seeing a lot of schools that are implementing it where kids do want to be there, right? In kind of the general population school. And so, I think that, what are the experiences that we've been seeing over the past few years with, the success with schools and bringing gaming concepts in?
I think probably the biggest piece is what I just talked about. It's
Mhm.
attendance. It
Yeah.
it has a direct impact on getting kids to school because Alex, you kind of talked about it before, why we do this. It gives them a why.
Hmm.
Why should I even come to school? Because there's nothing there for me.
Hmm.
Another thing, like you alluded to, being built in the alternative environment. But I think that the more that cell phones have become just a part of everyday life, is kids are right here, right now. Not just kids. Everyone is right here, right now. I like to tell the story that I don't care about the workings of my dryer, but when
Hmm.
it broke down, I got on YouTube and all of a sudden I was very interested in the workings of my dryer, and it ended up being a $6 fix. And I was
Hmm.
super proud of myself. And so the thing about video games is that students are doing this right here, right now. They did
Hmm.
it last night. They're looking forward to doing it tonight. And
Hmm.
so the skills that they are learning in these classes are things that they can apply right now. And they're learning transferable skills that I can see how I can use it right now. And I can
Hmm.
see, because of that adult that makes it purposeful, and we call it
Hmm.
purposeful play, because of that adult in the room that is telling them, hey, look at the teamwork that's going on. Look at the communication that's going on. What is going to be your practice schedule? How are you going to write this? How are you going to design this? How are you going to build this? We talk a lot about how do you teach perseverance, which is the number
Hmm.
one skill that employers are looking for. What is the main way that you teach perseverance? It's failure. That's how you teach perseverance. And that is why, after school activities, that's why your athletics are so important. Video game play is the same. When a student gets video games for the first time and is playing a new game, they will fail. But do they quit? No. Typically, they'll get back up. They'll whine about it a little bit, like Mike says, but they'll get back up and they want to play again and they want to play again and they want to overcome that, whatever the impetus of the game is. And so I couldn't believe the transferable skills that students were learning. I couldn't believe how they were getting to school and they were excited about coming to school.
Hmm.
And kids that had never talked to me before, just because I took an interest in their video game play, now they're talking to me, and I'm making a connection and they're understanding why school is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, making sure that sorry, Chris, sorry, Mike, were you gonna say something?
No, no. I was just going to say that the other thing too is just the authentic, teachable moments that occur when you're, and Christy kind of alluded to this, but you know, the best time to tell somebody that they're improperly chatting with someone online is when they're doing it, not
Hmm.
after the fact and you're trying to do damage control. So it's a great opportunity to be like, this is how you communicate and this is how you should properly respond to someone who's bullying you
Hmm.
or talking bad to your teammates or whatever. So I think those are
Hmm.
in and we always, I think we talk a lot about digital citizenship and how to make our kids better and what are we going to do about this crisis with cell phones and everything. But in the end, you really takes an adult to be there or a mentor to
Hmm.
be there to show them this is how you respond to these situations. And that's something I think we do as we've grown and we've moved on, we've grown from the alternative school into traditional school settings. That's something that really schools, I think, are latching onto as well. So
Yeah, and absolutely. Talking about teachable moments, like, I have four young kids and I see the parallels so much into where, young kids don't know that they're doing something wrong or they don't know the etiquette of something like that. You pull them aside, you have that teachable moment. Well, older kids, they necessarily don't know that they're doing something wrong in some of these video games and these online situations. They they just haven't been taught that.
Mhm.
Whether, a lapse in the education system or something they've missed at home or whatever, like a million reasons. But that's where that comes in, right? And it's how beneficial can it be to where it's not happening where students are alone, online downstairs in the basement. It's happening in a classroom where it can be brought to light and it can be talked about, and you can have a really great teachable moment. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's run through quickly the different courses that we have that you guys that we're going to talk about today that we have with Gaming Concepts. Again, something that's been added to Play Versus here, and so so many courses, but we're going to go through them quickly. I know that this is the longest part here, but there is some really awesome stuff at the end. So that's my little teaser for sticking to the end. Is that we have some really awesome free stuff for you guys. So stick into that. So. We're going to start here in our middle school book. This is digital life skills. This is where that transition book where students are learning that not everyone likes to hold hands and be friends. And so it is that transition years. It's the hard years where kids, like Christy mentioned earlier, where things fall apart. This book is really awesome because this book focuses on, the things on the screen, obviously. But it's going to be focusing on social skills, physical health, mental wellness, and life skills. That students will create a character for this book that represents themselves and then levels up themselves through experience when they learn practical skills or experience points doing some quests within the book that the teacher gives out. All provided to you, by the way, through the curriculum. So, Introduction to Digital Life Skills is that book for the middle school level. Moving up, this could be an 8-9 or a 9-10 book. It kind of depends on where you want it to fit. But this is the original, the Gaming Concepts Fundamentals. First book that Mike and Christy wrote. This is where it all started. I'm sure there's like a notebook with all kinds of scratch marks everywhere, right? Their original, the original manuscript, right? But this is the very first one. And so what's a fun fact about this is that when Mike and Christy put this out there, Microsoft got a hold of them and wanted to put it on the educator community. And because of that, it was downloaded 400,000 times in 40 countries. And so, I mean, it is the best selling, best free curriculum ever put on there by far with the amount of downloads it had. And that just showed that the need, right? It showed that this is something neat, this is something cool, something innovative, something different that kids are latching onto and teachers are latching onto. We use this as an elective course, and so it teaches the fundamentals of esports, history of esports, game genres, but students also learn technical knowledge, troubleshooting. They will build a PC. That's Mike's and I's favorite lesson. Mike's is router basics. That's actually Mike's favorite lesson, but the building the PC one's awesome because I like doing that. And then college career readiness, gamer health, physical, mental, and emotional health as well. So this is the original course designed for those early high school years, or right at the end, maybe in eighth grade year. Going up in difficulty a little bit is going to be our interactive media course. And so this is the actual only course we have right now, or sorry, one of two courses that is a full year. And so this course is going to replace we're going to start to get into courses replacing ones you have on the books already. So this is going to replace a course that you might have for digital media or Photoshop or digital marketing or something like that along those lines, graphic design. This course will overlay those on your course books and your standards. So this CTE course can be used as CTE for funding, but it can be used again for digital media, digital design, multimedia, and it's project based. So students are going to start be doing like esports themed projects in here, like learning how to do video editing, audio editing. They're going to be doing things like transitions and overlays. And they're going to kind of understand that kind of graphic and visual art to kind of almost like production, almost to like TV production would be a good segue into that. So yeah, that is our maybe a 10, 11. 'Cause these are all pretty loose. It really depends on the levels of your students. Next up is our other full year course, which is computer applications. Anyone here in on today has taught computer applications? Anyone else? A survivor or current implementer of nope, nobody else on there? Okay, that's okay. Oh, there we go, Mary. Very good. Well, blessings to you, Mary, for computer applications. I remember computer applications. You'd have the Excel workbook, and you just work through it. And I mean, that was so. What we have done is we have rewritten the book on computer applications. And so, what students are going to be working through is an esports entrepreneurship business communications course. There, I fit it all in. And so, what students are going to be doing is using the Google suite of tools to do everything that you have to do for computer applications, but in an esports themed environment. They're going to be building an esports business, an esports brand. They're going to be communicating and organizing and building in the Google workspace, just like they would in real life using real tools. And they're going to be doing things like meetings. They're going to be doing things like understanding the use of AI within the context of business and business communications, as well as building out all these things like slide decks and presentations, and again, some more audio video stuff. So, really great, a really great replacement there for schools. Excuse me. Next up is streaming. And again, we're at this kind of end of high school, but anywhere between 10 and 12, really, all of these can fit. So just keep that in mind. Streaming is an awesome one because as Christy alluded to earlier, this directly overlays here in the US, directly overlays public speaking. So if you have public speaking on the books, you can have streaming. And so all the standards match up one to one. Nobody wants to sit through another student giving a speech about how to make peanut butter and jelly, right? Nobody wants to hear that anymore, right? It's the same one every year. And I'm getting PTSD just thinking about it. Uh, just because because I was even in the class, not even teaching it. But, so this is great because it can help with an ELA credit. It can help with a CTE credit. It depends on where you want to put it. But this will cover your public speaking skills and do a lot of other cool things like script writing. You're going to learn again graphics and visual media with intros and outros. You're going to understand and learn OBS, which is industry standard for like a video game recording software program that streamers use on Twitch or YouTube. And so this is, industry recognized software. This is industry standard software that the students will be learning in this course. Its companion course is shoutcasting. And so shoutcasting is where students are going to have this directly overlay your broadcast journalism class in school. So if you have journalism, broadcast, TV production, this course will directly overlay that for you. And this one's really neat because it again focuses on esports. And so what we're doing is building that kind of, if you look at it as a whole, we're building this kind of esports pathway within your building, right? These kids are getting really good at graphic media and visual media and planning and communication. And that's hopefully going to bleed into the rest of your building. So with this course, students are going to get really good at what would be esports or sports announcing for video games. They're going to understand their games really well. They're going to be calling them just like a call sports announcer would be at a football game, and they're going to be having a following because of what they're building with their videos, their streams, or what they're putting together in their portfolios. So this could be a CTE in arts, AV, technology, and communications. That'd be a great place for it. But it will combine English language arts with technology as students learn that journalism concept through the esports lens. And so this is a really cool one. If you see that journalism, you see these journalism pathways that have been really big in the past. We see the numbers dwindling. We see a lot of numbers dwindling out of these traditional CTE courses. And this is that revitalization that we've been trying to work through. Now, I can't stress enough, and we should have said this in the beginning, and it should be on the bottom of every slide. Our curriculum, Gaming Concepts, does not teach kids how to play video games. Video games is not the focus. It is themed in video games, right? You still do all the work of school in the theme of video games and working through, the concepts of video games. The part where video games come in is when we're going to actually play some video games during class time to relate the gameplay to the lesson. And so that's done with what we call purposeful play. And so students are going to play games, but there are so many good like prompts and discussion board things that students are like given that we're giving to you to prompt students to think about, to question, to analyze, to research while they're playing. So one of the ones that we like to talk about the most is, color theory during the interactive media book. So they learn what colors, complementary colors are there, and a mask. Yeah, that's a mask. Yep, definitely a mask for sure. You're talking about colors, and it's like, during gameplay, how do you know where to go in this game, right? What colors, how are they using colors in the video game to help you in the directions or help you in what you're knowing what you're supposed to do? And so, that would be maybe one of them for that. Another one would be, you're talking about teamwork or you're talking about communication. Well, that's great to play a teamwork game like Rocket League, and you're talking about, who is the strongest communicator on your team? How could you communicate with them better? What were the failures in your communication today, right? All of that can easily be, brought out of the game and into the classroom as those teachable moments. And that's what we're trying to build with this purposeful playtime is even more teachable moments. Uh-oh, there we go. Okay. All right, so let's move on. So that's the gaming concepts curriculum. Does anybody have a question about gaming concepts, what we have, what it is? Please throw that in chat because I want to make sure we get through everything today. Yes, I got to quit looking at chat is what I got to quit looking at because I get distracted myself. So let's move on. We're going to talk about Blueprint. Blueprint is the online platform that we have for gaming concepts and for a couple of other courses that we have. And so if you're familiar with Blueprint or you're new to Blueprint, I wanted to provide you right now with some updates that we've been working on over the summer so that you can be excited about what that is. And then also a couple of sneak peeks on what's coming up ahead. And so some things and updates that our dev team has been tirelessly working on is full Clever integration with auto rostering. So that is something that we are proud to say that we have available through Blueprint. So if you are a Clever school, we can provide you with auto rostering and integration. Aside from that, with more news about Clever, we do now have Clever Grade Sync. And so the grades that you put into Blueprint will sync through Clever to your school's SIS or other LMS platform. We have also added new information tooltips for better understanding and guidance throughout the platform. So if you have a question about, what does this button do or what does this button do, there are dozens more little question marks everywhere to tell you and help you facilitate better learning and better course curricula or better course creation through Blueprint. We've also added a new help center with live chat feature through Intercom. So if you see on Blueprint, if you're a Blueprint user, you can see the little chat bubble down here in the little bottom right. Then that is our new help center, and people are waiting and ready for your questions.
Alex,
Christy,
I don't think they're able to see what you're showing on the screen.
uh-oh. Is it not showing the Blueprint success? I'm not showing Blueprint.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
just
I thought
chatting.
when you said
We're
down in
just
the
chatting.
bottom right, I thought they were supposed to see
No,
that.
sorry. No, sorry.
Hey.
Good. Hey, good catch though. And then also we've added three new questioning types within Blueprint for our courses, and that is order of operations, sort into boxes, and image matching are the new question types that we've done. So those are for people that know what Blueprint is. But if you do not know what Blueprint is, lucky you, that's the next slide. So Blueprint, again, is our learning management system or LXP, learning experience platform that we like to say. And so what it does is it houses everything for gaming concepts. And so you are able to create your own courses as well on there, but you are able to facilitate the courses that you get from us, from Playversus. So, it's super easy. Fun fact, Mike, Christie, and I designed almost all of it. And so the good parts. So we designed all the good parts. So, but yeah, so that's a big thing is that, you deal with these LMS companies and you deal with LMSs, and we have dealt with LMSs in the past, right? And they are not built by teachers. And so that was one of the biggest things is that we wanted it to be, developed and designed by teachers. Obviously, we didn't do any coding, but we definitely guided the practice and the interaction of how this works with a teacher and with a student. And so we're super proud of it. And that, so many people are using it and like it because as all of us are teachers and educators here, we kind of know the pitfalls and the shortcomings of a lot of the LMS systems and what we want it to do and what we'd like it to do. And so It's something that we have built specifically for gaming concepts, and yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome. So I can't wait for you guys to experience it. So yes, so what we have in Blueprint, interactive lesson scheduling. One of the biggest things about LMSs is when you schedule it to one thing, you got to make a change. You got to go into the activity, you got to go into the lesson, you got to change some fields, you got to hit save. Maybe you did it for one section and not the other one. We have kind of a dynamic interactive scheduler. And so what it does is on the calendar, you're allowed to just move things around. You just click and drag it and it's moved. It's auto reassigned. It's auto populates on the student side. It's super, super simple. You can create all your own lessons, create all your own content on there for you to keep and teach as long as you would like, as much as you would like. And also, it houses the gaming concepts. So Blueprint is where all of that stuff is housed, and then many more things to come from Playverses will be housed here on the Blueprint platform. Okay. Now, I promised you a little bit at the end. Was one of you going to talk? Christy, you going to say something? No. Okay. All right. I thought I heard something. So I'm a little bit ahead of schedule. That's good. That's good. That's not usual. That's not usual. Okay. So I promised to the end there's gonna be some cool stuff that we're going to talk about, and I'm super excited. These are three huge things that we have come up with over the summer. We have been working on these for months. And so I'm really happy to talk about these three big ones: intro to technology, something with Google Cloud, and then an esports certificate. Who is excited? Let's see a show of things in the chat here. One, two, or three. Intro to technology. It could be a course. Who knows what that is? Number one. Google Cloud, number two. Esports certificate, number three. Who's most excited for anyone? One and three. One and three. Okay. One and three for Google Cloud. I guess you don't know what it is. So
Alex, I
some
think
people,
it's because they don't know what it is.
that's okay.
I know that's what it is.
No, no, no hard feelings. They will definitely be excited about it once I tell them about it. Okay, awesome. All right, very good. One and three. Okay, so we will not talk about two. I'm just kidding. Okay, here we go. Intro to technology. So, brand new for 25-26, we are launching an elementary third grade course called Intro to Technology. This is going to cover computer science and digital literacy at a third grade level, and it is either a semester or a year-long class. It depends on where this is going to fit in your specials. And so we actually had never planned on teaching or making an elementary curriculum, but we kept hearing from people that elementary is where it is, right? And if we as educators and as the course authors wanted to have this pathway through middle school and high school, then you also have to have the mindset and you have to have the skills being developed even lower. It's almost like a football program where you have to start with those freshmen, and by time they're seniors, now you have a state-worthy varsity team, right? You're working with these kids, and actually, that's a bad analogy. I don't know sports too well, but you start with those pee-wee leagues. I should have said that, right? Start with the fundamentals and get that mindset going. What we focus on is the Computer Science Teachers Association standards, ISTE standards, and CASEL standards, and are kind of what is guiding us. And so this hits technology skills such as debugging, block coding, and keyboarding and typing, right? A lot of things that are going away from schools. Oddly enough, I don't know how many of you still have computer classes at the elementary school, but my district here in Kansas City, like the number three largest district here in Kansas City, elementary curriculum for computers gone. They axed it last year. So there is no computer classes at the elementary school. It starts in middle school, which is devastating. So this is something that can be integrated into the classroom and easily done during those special times. It also hits heavily on online safety and digital citizenship. And so what's really great about this, that the intro to technology will be a part of a larger package to be offered for elementary schools coming up here in the near future. So, okay, awesome. So that's the third grade course that is part of our elementary program. So here's the lonely one here. Google Cloud. Okay, so this one's really cool. We have just formed a partnership with Google Cloud, and what we are going to be offering, and it's you guys here on the on the call, Christy can put the form in here in a second. We will be offering you 1 year or 12 months of free unlimited access to Google Cloud Skills Boost, which is a training platform for you to upskill yourself in IT and technical knowledge. And so teachers can do things like cloud infrastructure and IT, data and AI, web and app development, digital communications. There's a ton of things on there. There's over 1,200 like course badges and courses to take that Google will certify that you have done these and have these skills. So the pilot that we are working with right now is open, and Christy can throw the link in for our pilot application. Yes, absolutely. And so if you are interested in doing this, this is 100% free. We are accepting 20 people into this pilot. And so that would be all of you, actually. If you wanted to come on over, because I would love to get you these license codes to be used. This is
Alex,
only for
is it
yeah.
typically $300 a year? I can't remember.
Yep, this is $300 a year.
Yeah.
Google has provided these to us for free, and that's what we're doing for you. We're passing this along, especially in this pilot program, because we want to know what you think about it. We want to see some thoughts and some feedback from it. So that's the only thing that's the only catch is you're going to get one email from me and says, "How did you like it?" And that's about it. So pretty low bar. For that. But yeah, we are offering this to you guys. And I'm super excited. There's some cool stuff in there. I took a SQL course on it just a couple of weeks ago. And because we do like database management sometimes here. And perfect. Awesome. Oh, yep. It's the same form. Yeah. So if you saw a thing on our socials, that was actually what I'm going to talk about next, the esports certificate. So this is different. So you can apply for both. Yeah. So I took a SQL course because we do database management. So if you're somebody that teaches computer science, IT, some sort of networking, you're doing coding at the high school level, this would be perfect for you. Or if you just want to kind of upskill your tech knowledge, have a look and see if it's something that you might be interested in. Okay, here we go. The big one here, this one, Esports Educator Certificate. This is something that we have just finished writing and are ready to launch. We are super proud to announce that we, Playversus, are going to offer an Esports Educator Certificate that will provide you with 20 certifiable hours of professional development towards your license renewal. This is such a cool course that is designed for those of us that went to college and went to education school and have a job and then are told or voluntold or have volunteered to teach esports now, right? And so you do the esports class and you have no training in it at all. And so this is your companion that was not there as esports 201 at your university that was a supplement to whatever your actual degree was, right? So yes, super excited to offer you 20 hours of professional learning for this. And so what we cover is esports foundations. It really gets you in the mood of understanding, in the mindset of understanding how an esports educator, like for scholastics, like that's you're teaching these gaming concepts courses, or you're teaching a 4 credit class about video games or through video games, works in that traditional school environment. So we're shifting that mindset of, you're this certain type of teacher to more facilitator, right? Right. We're moving to a project-based classroom facilitator, right? And how that comes to be, right? So, you're like I said, you're going to go over esports foundations, technology and setups. That can be some of the hardest things is understanding the tech behind these and all of the different requirements for, Mike has a great story about Blizzard, if you want to share, and how many licenses you can get.
Oh yeah, fun fact.
Uh-oh. Is it me or Mike?
Oh, is it not working?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, now you're back.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, you can buy 3 licenses per day per credit card. So it took me about 4 days to buy all the licenses that I needed to start my lab. So
Yeah. For
yeah,
Overwatch, for
yeah,
things for
for
Blizzard.
overall.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so keep that in mind. It's not like normal stuff you buy for a school where you can buy 100 licenses to
No.
to a game. Not at all. So, and we help you out with that. We walk you through all of those things, like what computers you might want, what games you can use, restrictions, whitelisting, IT requirements. We talk about the health and wellness within esports and how you as the facilitator and the teacher can promote that change and promote that wellness in your classroom. And then, excuse me, we talk about coaching because obviously coaching is a part of this esports. Um, Sometimes you'll have, the in-school piece is the same teacher as the after-school piece where the competitions take place. We teach you how to do streaming and shoutcasting so that you can be right there along with the kids to do it, or provide them as a resource so that your students know how to do it, or at least have a resource to do it. And then we have a final capstone project for you to demonstrate your learning. So right now, what we're doing for this is thank you for those of you that have added to the pilot program. We are looking for a number of individuals, 20, I believe. And so if you have seen that on our socials, I believe it was on X, it was on LinkedIn, it was on Instagram. There might be an email floating around somewhere. Check our socials for Play Versus. You'll see the educator certificate banners and kind of call outs or posts, I should say posts. Really excited to hopefully get some of you guys in there. And if some of you have already applied, that's great. I really appreciate you applying. Okay, now this wasn't on the list earlier, but I saw it in the slide deck because it's coming up. And that is, what's happening? Not thank you. We're not ready for that yet. I do not know. This is trying to get to professional development.
I saw it on there.
I know. There we go.
It is.
Okay. All right. There we go. I was clicking the wrong screen, I guess. All right. So another thing, professional development. How many of you guys have computers at school? Okay, that's everybody. That's obviously a silly question. All right. So one of the big things about having technology at school is that hopefully you guys are getting professional development about it, right? You might have a tech integration specialist. You might have people come in and do PD. You might have things that go on for PD. We all know that there's a million things that PD happens for. But when you make something purposeful and you make something with intent, like putting esports into your building, you've got to support it. And especially in those early years, you need that support behind you. And so we do offer professional development with the gaming concepts or with esports in general and understanding how this works in a school ecosystem. So we have super awesome topics that we can come out and do either in person or virtually. And this is built for those teachers that are doing it, that are teaching esports, that are doing esports competitions. It could also be for IT teams. If you have an IT team that wants to look at doing, lab design or network setup, but also just as a benefit, like we can help you out and help you sell this to your district to show, look, these are all the numbers. This is all the data. This is how many schools in your area are actually already doing this, right? So let's help these kids and let's build out something awesome that they care about and that you're going to have a lot of fun with too, right? Because it's not always about the kids. Like the teachers can have fun too. So and it's a lot of fun. The PDs are a lot of fun. So if you're interested in supporting your program, know that that is an option as well that we have. So okay, woof, I've made it. I've made it to the end. Questions. I would love to answer any questions you have about anything related to this webinar, and maybe a few that aren't. Anybody? I must have answered everything, obviously. Well, let's do some hot takes here at the end then, while we're finishing up. Christy, a final thought, like off the top, something you
I
want to tell them.
just I think that, when we used to have webinars, we were talking about how cutting edge this is. And I think Jessica put in, she's excited to get going. They do have a team that competes,
Mhm.
and now she's trying to get the courses. And I think a lot of it is that people don't know about this. They don't, when we talk about esports curriculum, they automatically either think coaching or they think we're trying to make better video game players. And so I think like a webinar like this, it really turns the light bulb on
Mhm.
that, this is about engagement. This is about attendance. This is about relationships. And this is about what most schools are talking about right now. They're trying to
Mhm.
get kids engaged. They're trying to get students to come to school. They're trying to build relationships with students. And so I just think, like I told Jessica, if you need one of our people to talk this through, this
Mhm.
webinar will be on YouTube. But if you just need to explain to them, we're not trying to make better video game players. We're trying to harness that passion that students have for video games into school. We're meeting them where they're at, is what we're doing here.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I would just add, I mean, we talked a lot about like CTE and things, but I mean, there's, obviously there's a lot of careers that can evolve out of these courses and out of gaming, but I mean, they don't have to be just with gaming companies, although that is, that's always a joy for me to see that happen. If I personally had a student who was an intern at Blizzard one summer, and now he actually works for a company and he designs levels, and he still does that. So that's always a great thing to see. And but we also have to remember that the video game companies need all the traditional jobs too. They have HR people and, accountants and all those jobs need to be filled too. And to have a background in some of the games that those companies, develop would be very helpful as you're entering that world because you have an understanding of kind of like the culture and what kind of games they design. Because, you may not want to work at a particular company for the kind of games they design, but you might like this other company. So I think that's,
Mm.
something you want to keep in mind too. So, and then, oh, the other thing I was going to say when you were talking about streaming, and I didn't want to cut you off because you were in such a role there, but, uh, 80% of kids want to be streamers right now. So that's,
Mhm.
that's like the number one in demand job, for kids. So teaching them those skills and, I think a lot of it has to do with perseverance and just getting your channel up and running and getting out there. But, um, not only is streaming a popular career choice, but is also something that colleges recruit for inside of their esports programs. So they look for streamers and shoutcasters to join their esports teams to broadcast the games and do all that
Mhm.
design work. So I mean, it's not just about playing video games or being knowledgeable about video games. It's also about all those things that surround putting on a video game production and doing all the things that go with that. So I think that's
Mhm.
don't just get locked in on, oh, we're playing video games, because and I think we've done a great job of demonstrating that today. But when you're talking to parents and administrators, it's always fun to have as many things to overcome those objections as you can.
For sure. For sure. Thanks, Mike. Two things I want to say is that, one, Mark brings up a good point in chat. And while I am not going to address all of it, I've got a general answer to it. A lot of the um, projects and a lot of the learning that takes place within the curriculum is directly related to those other core subjects. And so what we're doing in gaming concepts and doing in these kind of CTE elective gaming concepts, C sports classes, is that we are building students with skills to perform better in the other classes. So when you start seeing a bunch of kids, you start implementing gaming concepts and this kind of project-based curriculum throughout your school or throughout your levels, is that you're going to start seeing that presentations are better and more polished. You're going to start seeing better and more elaborate projects being done and kids having the capability to take on and organize more in these classes. Because as I was seeing it when I was teaching it, we were doing it alongside project-based learning. And so students, were doing their science projects, but they were using the skills that they had learned in with OBS and with video editing and stuff like that. Something that the teacher hadn't even considered as a possibility because they just wanted a slideshow, but they were putting graphic elements that they were building in Canva or in Photoshop, and they were putting them into their presentation as animations. And I mean, they were becoming very elaborate, and all the kids started trying to outdo each other because once you start these kids on this path of, man, I know how to do this, and oh, can you do this? And oh, what about doing like this? It just sets off like wildfire. And so the amount of learning that takes place in your building is going to just kind of, enhance itself through this kind of like almost grassroots core group of kids learning these skills. And so that's the one thought I have about that, Mark. So thank you for bringing that up. Another one is when I was teaching, we had a requirement or a building goal for 100% participation. And we had it for years. We'd never been able to hit 100% participation in school activities. Students trying to do, get everybody in the school connected to the school in some way. And the last year that I was there, which is when we brought esports in, was when we hit it. Because that last 10% of the students that were not involved in anything, they were in esports. So that is the last thing I'm going to leave you with. The link for the esports certificate, Christy, we have it on the socials. Are you going to post it, or is it just on the socials?
I'll post it right now.
I'll post. Okay, get everybody in there, right? Get everybody in there. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much, everybody. There we go. Might have been helpful a little bit while we were talking. Thank you so much for everything that you do for kids. Thank you for taking this on. If this has been asked of you, thank you for doing it. If it's your own passion project, right? Esports obviously is important to us. We love it. But what we love is that the kids are getting something that they are loving, right? And so they're getting excited about school again. So that's what we try and bring back in. So thank you to you teachers and educators that are doing it and that are, facilitating it and being the champion for these kids. Mike, Christy, as always, thank you. Appreciate you guys being on here, helping out with chat and helping out with some things. Our socials are there, personal-ish, business-ish socials there for LinkedIn. Find us on LinkedIn, connect with us, we can chat. We have a YouTube channel, Gaming Concepts, or the big channel, Play Versus. And then we've got a couple of websites there for you to check out, gamingconcepts.gg, playversus.com, blueprint.study. Those are all our links. If you have any questions at all, please email us at education@playversus.com. And also like and subscribe when you see this on YouTube because you'll know when we send out new videos. But we do a webinar like this every other week. Next week's topic is different, so it's something new every week. So check our website for what's coming up. With that said, I'm going to end it. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. Really excited about the new year. Super excited about the new semester and gaming concepts and all the new additions and course offerings. So good luck to you guys all out there who are going to be teaching this semester. And again, thank you so much.